Attack map guide on Border, all sites included. Border is a pretty much balanced map in ranked, because most of the people know basics of how to attack but as well as how to defend. There are a few unique ways to hold Border, especially when Goyo was introduced. Let's start, shall we? When attacking lockers and archives, and when you're solo queuing. I would recommend pushing through the office window if there are no rotation between office and archives. Or you could push crouch walking through the long hallway. The reason I would prefer this push over lockers push when solo queue is that you can take one room at a time. You can clear out offices, then fontaine, and then archives, picking one angle at a time. Whereas if you are going to push lockers, either from the breach or main stairs, you have to immediately watch several angles as well as possibly flanks. When you're in a stack, there are three kinds of pushes. The third one is with the heavy vertical play, which is currently out of meta, so I won't be talking about it here. Most of the maps have a place in common, where you should make your presence when attacking. On Border, it is on E stairs. Like on Consulate, we had double doors of lobby, or on Consulate, we had yellow doors. E stairs allow defenders to rotate through the map, and if you have control or eyes on the main stairs, essentially you have blocked all the paths to the top, aside from Onyx that he can climb on the hatches. Let's talk about the first attack, which is the lockers push, and for this attack, Therma is required as well as Zofia Rush. You will first want to, after taking the control of the E stairs, to take control of the CC and open an angle from the break to lockers, splitting objective in half. From CC you can also see E stairs or the possible office flank. Once you get the CC control, you're halfway done. But how to take the control of the CC? There are two common spots to be as a defender, which are behind the TVs and around this wall. For both places you can relatively easily push defenders out of that, especially if they have both of the lockers walls reinforced. Because then you can utilize the CC window in your push, and usually the lockers walls are reinforced. All that you need to have is a pair of flashbangs, frags, Capitao, Yinkadalas, and you will be able to get control of the CC from the window itself. There are several ways of holding CC, like with a mirror window, then you have to go vertically, rotate between the short and the CC, and a few more. I won't go in depth to that. Once you get the control of the CC, your main target is with the termite to open the locker's wall. And to do that, you will be facing Bandit or Kaid. Both of them can be dealt with Ash or Zofia from the outside. 2. For the Kaid chargers, it can be a bit harder if Kaid mains know for these two following spots. So with the Ash or Zofia outside, wait for the Therma to start putting the charges, and during the time, use Ash or Zofia charges, or just one charge, following it up with a stun grenade. Or if you don't have the second impact, you can set the Bandit putting the Bandit charge with the concussion mines, and you will open the wall. If Bandit is still contested Thermite, 2 Zofia chargers or 2 Ash chargers will get him killed. Now there is just one more play that you have to be wary of, and that is the half wall plays, that can be dealt again with an outside Zofia, Ash charge, or a frag grenade, Pax Kantoki. You have a couple of options, and once you have done that, you're ready for the execution. However, before clearing up the half wall, make sure to have a player repelled by the sandwich position, so they can see anyone that tries to get closer to the breach, or get away from it and pick them off. This is an especially important position during and post the plant, and they are exposed from the AC unit, north balcony, or ventilations window. The default to plant is by the doors, or deep by the half wall. It will be a smart idea to smoke off the NykyleH and further so you don't die when you cross. You can be C4'd, so having someone outside watching it is recommended. When you're doing the office take, it is a bit more advanced, as it requires you to have 2 rooms to control prior to the execution, which is fontaine and office. You will definitely want to open the triple walls office with or without termite, and the other charge will go between the archives office on the left side, so you can safely go to the bomb side and plant behind the bomb. To clear out offices, or even to open the wall, maybe you will require this frag grenade throw, which is commonly used in the Pro League to get rid of the bandit tricker or a player in the office sandwich position. Speaking of denying bandit tricker, you can do it from the E stairs. Once you get it, fontaine control should be also granted. You will have an easy time to push in the archive, and especially if you have someone on the AC unit, north balcony, as you could decide in the half with that. Taking frags, capital smokes to smoke out the door between the sides should do the job to clear out the archives. Then you can start the plant behind the bomb. the floor is soft so you can be C4'd. Or by the corner of the window where the floor is solid. If you have brought Hibana, having a long angle from the office window all the way to the lockers, half wall can be sometimes very useful. Now we are taking ventilation to the workshop, and for our SoloQ part, I will recommend you to start pushing for the passport, waiting, tellers and toilet to the objective. Or you could help your team to push top floor because this side in 9 out of 10 times is attacked from the top. Getting the top floor control will be a bit easier because the defender won't heavily contest CC or offices, and to clear out the top floor you can do the similar things as we did in the past, or you can even combine both pushes. Once top floor is cleared, you will need to have a solid distraction such as bugs, Sledge or Joshie with breaching chargers, and you will want to clear out ventilation fully. Having an eye on ventilation rotation, you can open up a few angles onto the workshop. However, your main focus is to isolate ventilation and push any defender that could be playing by the hatch in the workshop or below, as that's the default place for smoke. Once you clear that out, you're ready for the ventilation window execution. You will need someone on the top to watch out if defenders will try to contest your plan through the leg level line of sights, and a person that watches the main entrance from the outside. A useful angle that can be found is in the supply, that splits objectives in half. Basically, the main thing in this attack is to get the top floor control within 2 minutes, and not to lose your shot destruction in the meantime. Be aware of the pre-play C4s and obviously flanks, because they will definitely happen. Expect that there will be at least 3 people off the side, 2 most likely in the lockers, and that you don't need any reinforced wall to be destroyed down there, unless you're doing a toilet push which is a bit more advanced. Some teams even prefer to have all 5 in the lockers and archives, as defenders. Why are you forced to put the top floor? Because the defender can play from the top on you. The defender's angle can be found in a video in the description. Also in the description you can find the vertical holes for ventilation and workshop as an attacker to make. Moving to attacking customs and supply, and what I will recommend as a SoloQ player is to either push from the office and clear all the way to the lockers whilst your team is pushing CC. The only room you need to have control, well, it's basically 2 rooms, is CC and break room for this push. So you have to expect loads of utility from defenders to put on the top. You can expect even a defender in the lockers to hold up the west part of the balcony, like a deployable shield pointing balcony with a soft wall, or just behind the half wall. Or they could play long angles from the offices. There are options for defenders, but overall you can clear out CC just as we did in the previous attacks, depending on where their utility is. Either in the offices, push from the CC window. If they are in the lockers, push from the offices to clear out lockers. Note that, if they do play in the lockers, it will be just 1 person. If there are more, you can brute force yourself in the CC or even in the objective, depending on the situation. Once you clear the top floor, you have angles onto the whole customs, and the only left position as defender to play is in the supply, so packing it from above will be the way. Opening up the jail wall as a termite will be recommended, and you will most likely start to plant by the supply window. Your planter can be stopped in 2 ways, from the main entrance, and don't underestimate that road. Pro matches were lost because of that. And the rotation between the main stairs and supply. You need to have these 2 covered when planting, but overall, that's an idea how to approach to this objective. A forgotten angle will be rappelling on the waiting room to make a melee hole all the way to the CC. Your melee hole will probably go unnoticed, and if there is a defender there, you will easily get killed. However, once you are spotted, retreat. For a final attack, which is attacking tellers and toilet, and due to the similar reasons of ventilation, we are forced to put the top floor. There are 2 ways of pushing top floor, from opening the triple walls in the offices, and just making sure that defenders do not play in the offices. You don't need the vertical control, you just need to make sure that no defender is playing by the vertical holes, and then you can play it in the default by the soda machine. Expect it to be denied from the smoke in the toilet, or behind the deployable shield, so opening up the side teller's wall is recommended for a quicker retreat. However, I will talk now more about the more consistent push, which is through the CC and lockers. Termite required. CC will most likely be clear. Lockers, the west part, will also be clear. And some teams prefer to bandage the small office walls in the lockers. If they do, you're pretty much screwed, to be honest. You can try to open the wall with the Maverick if you have brought him, or with Zofia, all the way from the AC unit, to stand the bandit 2 times. You can do it from the sandwiches window. Once you clear that out, you will want to clear out main stairs and open up the fontaine wall as termite. and then their defense will collapse, because all default defender officer spots are against the east push, and there are no good office spots to be as defenders against the fontaine push. Basically, this top floor attack requires more teamwork, but if you have it, you can very consistently attack every teller defense. Once you establish the top floor control, make vertical hold as shown in the video in the description and plant by the soda machine. Retake is pretty much impossible. Also, due to the vertical control, you can deny smoke trying to stall your plant. No solo queue part for this objective. Clearing up the top floor is a must against any solid team, because everything, even the workshop push, can be denied from the top. Border defend map guide is also linked in the description, in case you want to understand what to expect from defenders. It's highly recommended to check. Thank all the patrons and YouTube members that made this video possible. Thank you for staying with me for this long. If you wish to know all the ins and outs of the game, make sure to give me a like, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Let me know down in the comment section if you have any feedback or any question. With this being said, peace out.